Hi, I'm Stuart Ball and welcome to the second part of major scale theory. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at the first part where we learned the major scale and the triads that are taken or made from that scale. If you remember, we used the root, the third and the fifth from each degree or note of the scale. So if you remember, we had C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and then B minor with a flattened fifth. So we're going to take this to the next level now, and because we're going to be needing more notes, I'm going to play the scale starting from C on the low E string in 2 octaves. So basically we've got the scale twice. Okay, so we said before 1, 2, 3, so root third, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, root third and fifth. Well, the next note that we add to a chord is what's known as the seventh. We always stick within the scale, so we just count up exactly like we did before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we look at that note and we say, hey, that's a B. And we go back to our triad that we learned before and we look at our first available B, and our first available B is going to be on the 4th fret of the G string. So we're going to have to sacrifice this note, but it's an octave of C, so we don't need it. We already have it in the bass. Okay, so basically we just add this note, we take this inversion, sacrifice this C for a B, and then we have what's known as C major 7. Now, why is it a major 7? Because if the 7th is 1 semitone or 1 half step below the root, that is a major 7. So that's how you know. There's the root, 1 down, it's a major 7. Okay, so if we carry this idea on, now starting on D and counting up exactly the same scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We notice we have a C note. So we go to our D minor triad and we notice that we have the D twice. So we say, hey, where is there a C? Well, there's one right here on the 5th fret of the G string. We sacrifice this root note here, which we've already got in the bass, and then we have this chord. And this is D minor 7. And the reason it's a minor 7 is because it is 1 whole step or 2 frets below the root. Okay, so it's D minor 7. And we basically just keep this principle going all the way through. We start at E, and we try and find the 7th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we go to our same chord as we did before, take out that root, replace it with the minor 7, which is 1 whole step below the root, and we get E minor 7. Then we do exactly the same with F. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, excuse me, I started in the wrong place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We notice it's an E. And so we play our F triad that we did before. We sacrifice that root note, which is the octave, for the 7th. We put that in and we get that nice F major 7. So just recapping, we have C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, and we have F major 7. Okay, carrying the principle on, starting on G this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then we notice that that is a tone below the root of G. Now this is where things get interesting, because we know that the G is major. Okay, we already discussed that before because of the major 3rd, but it's got a minor 7th. Because the 7th is a tone below the root. So this is a major chord with a minor 7th. And this chord is known as G7, or quite commonly G dominant 7th. And you hear that chord a lot in blues and jazz and lots of different music, but it's a major chord with a minor 7th. Okay, so we go to A now, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We notice we have a G. Okay, so we go to our minor chord again, and you know what's going to happen. That minor is a tone below the root, and then we have A minor 7. Okay, final chord. If you remember before, we did the B minor with the flat 5. So we just basically go up the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there we get an A. And if you remember before, we had this kind of funny, the flat 5, and then I added the minor third there. We have an A quite conveniently sitting there like that, and we get this chord, which has a minor third, a flattened 5th, and a minor 7, and it's called B minor 7 flat 5. And I remember teaching a friend of mine this chord system ages ago, and he got the chord and he started going like this. He went, "Ooh, I need your love, babe." And then he goes, "Yeah, that's a lot of use, that is." And I kind of took his point, but believe me, if you do get into more kind of blues and jazz and chord substitutions, this one can come in handy. So there is major scale theory, part 2, just taking it a step further.